Do you or your clients have ashy, cool blonde hair but don't feel blonde enough? You could just need a change in your formulation. Keep watching to see how I change my formula up to create a nice, bright blonde to make my client feel super bright again. As always, using my favorite bond enforcing lightener with Olaplex. My client was referred to me by a friend, and I'm so glad she came to see me. If there's anything that I love, it's making a blonde feel bright again. You can see that she's already pretty light, but with the ashier tones, it just doesn't reflect as much light, therefore making it feel like you're as bright as you can possibly be. So our goal is to brighten her up a little bit and to make her a nice, brighter, whiter blonde instead of so cool. Since she is a first-time client, I don't want to go in and over blonde her hair, so we're just going to start with a partial balayage. That way she still has a lot of dimension left in her hair, and I told her we can always go back and add more if she feels like we need to. Okay, this right here is so important to me. Look at those panels that naturally are created with a zigzag parting. I feel like that's such a great way to do a balayage because when you create those zigzag lines, you're gonna have these extra ribbons of brightness, but you're also gonna have the automatic dimension that's incorporated when the hair falls down because of the way that the zigzag falls. Now I'm doing my section to make sure that I'm matching the exact curve of her head. I want to make sure that as her hair falls, that's where she's going to have the most brightness. The goal picture that my client brought me was a really bold, bright blonde on her face, but then in her crown area, it was really rooted and grown out. So I suggested that we kind of do an old school foil, but we backcomb it really tightly up against her roots. That way, when she combs her hair out, it's going to be really shadowed, really dark still at her roots, but then it's going to be super, super blonde and piecey, but a lot more blended than the old school chunky foils. And she's going to have a lot of that extra brightness that she really, really likes. For our subsection between all of her foils, I'm doing 1/2 inch to 1 inch zigzag partings. This is going to help her hair be really, really blended. She's going to have lots of dimension between every one of her foils, but she's also going to have really bright ribbons of blonde throughout. And because we're doing a zigzag and backcombing, everything's going to be super blended, but gradually get brighter through the ends with all of that dimension throughout in between. Normally I go through and highlight around her hairline first just to get her money pieces, but because she's already super blonde, I do not want it sitting on there for too long, potentially causing damage. So at this point my bleach is really, really weak, and so I have no worries that it's going to damage her hair if it sits on there a little bit longer. So we're going through doing her vertical foils, and this is going to give her a really nice pop of brightness around her face. Again, 3 weaves back to back on her hairline just to create that brightness. Sometimes we do more if they want a really super bright, bold blonde, but usually just 3 soft weaves is enough to give them that brightness without feeling too heavy and like they're gonna have a really harsh grow out line. Please be really cautious when you go through and do the hairline foils. This is where the hair is usually really fine and can potentially be really weak depending on how much their hair has been processed. I'm totally comfortable putting her hair through the lightener, through the ends, and putting it in the foil because for one, this bleach is like an hour old, so I know it's super weak. So normally I would not run the lightener through the ends, but I'm confident that her hair is strong enough to be able to handle it. Directly after her foils that we did up front for her money piece, I left a little bit more of a substantial subsection between these 2 foils. I really want to make sure she has enough depth between the brightness, that way it helps it pop and creates that dimension. If we just keep on stacking the foils right behind the money pieces, then she's not going to feel like she has a lot of brightness. It's just going to all blend too much and be too bright all over. Again, we're just doing a partial balayage, so through these side sections, I'm just going through and doing 2 small panels, and then we will go through and run some lightener through her ends just to try to brighten up the ends a little bit more and to get out of that medium ashy stage. Alright, here's all the work that we did, all of her foils and balayage and brighter pieces. Definitely heavier up through the top, but enough throughout everywhere else to give her enough brightness. Here's what we're toning with. This has been my favorite go-to for blondes. Normally I do a heavier amount of 9PA and 9V, but you'll see here that I actually use just a teeny amount and mostly stay with the 10s. You can tell here that when her hair will be kind of straightened, that it will still look really, really good. A lot of people say that with curly hair, balayage always looks good, but I like that you can tell here when it's kind of straightened out, it still looks just as amazing.
Oh, it's magical. Oh, yes, it's great. Even the ends are so blue.
Yeah, I went through and just painted through the ends.
It's magical.
How's the top look?
This
We did
is
a little bit.
As you can see, my client loves her hair, which in return makes me so happy. I love the way her hair turned out. I love seeing her hair so bright. This literally makes me so happy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, please ask and I will get back to you.